Here we will see the concept of a web browser. So we are going to study the concept of a web browser. A web browser is an application software for accessing the World Wide Web. So we have already studied that what is a software and what are the different types of softwares, and in that we have seen one type of software that's called application software. Okay, so web browser is also an application software, so we can say it is an application. Okay, and this application software is particularly used for accessing the internet. So it is used to access the internet. It is used to access the internet, or we can say it is used to access the World Wide Web. Used to access the web. And we can also say that a web browser is an application software which enables a user to interact with the text, images, video, music, and other information which is displayed on a website or on a web page. That means the information that is displayed on a web page can be of multiple types. It can be text, it can be images, it can be video, it can be hyperlinks, and other multimedia information also. If a user wants to interact with that information, for that he has to use a software application that is called a web browser, or simply an internet browser, or we can simply also say a browser. Okay, and whenever a user wants to access any website, so what he has to do first is that he has to open the web browser. So if we have a user and this user want to access some website, so first he has to log into his computer, and after that what he has to do, he has to open a software application, open web browser. So he has to open a browser. So he will open a browser. After that, in that browser he will type the address of the web page. So we can also say he will type the URL of the web page. And when he will type the URL of the web page, web browser will send a request to the particular computer, or we can say it will send the request to the server where this website is hosted. So for example, this is the server. Okay, as the request will be sent to this server for this URL, that means this website, and the server will send back the response. So it will send a response, that means it will send back the required web page, and this web page is rendered by the web browser. So web browser application will render this web page and it will display this web page to the user. Okay, so as a result, a user is now able to see the contents of the web page. This is what happens when a user wants to access any website. So what a user has to do, he has to first log into his computer, he has to open the web browser, he has to open the browser software. After that, he has to type the URL of the website, and after that what the browser will automatically do, it will send the request to the required server while the website is hosted. After that, the server will send back the response, and the response will be rendered by the web browser, and the web page will be displayed to the user. Okay, now text and images on a web page can contain hyperlinks to other web pages at the same or different website. That means if we have a web page, that web page can contain text, images, or it can also contain hyperlinks, and those hyperlinks can take us to other web pages which will be also displayed in the web browser. Okay, and the first web browser that came into existence was World Wide Web. Okay, the first web browser was World Wide Web. This was the first web browser. Okay, so remember that it is different from the term World Wide Web that we have already studied. That means the enormous amount of information that is available on the internet. It is different from that term. So this is actually World Wide Web, and this World Wide Web was the name of the first web browser that was created by Tim Berners-Lee. Tim Berners-Lee is called the father of World Wide Web. Okay, Tim Berners-Lee created the first web browser and he named the web browser as World Wide Web, and he created this web browser in 1990. Okay, after that, in 1993, Mosaic web browser came. Mosaic web browser came in 1993, and this became a very popular web browser because this web browser provided an interface to the user to interact with the World Wide Web. Okay, and after that, in 1994, another popular web browser came that was called as Netscape Navigator. It came in 1994. Okay, and after that, in 1995, Internet Explorer came. Internet Explorer became available in 1995, and in 2002, another popular web browser came that is called Mozilla Firefox. Mozilla Firefox came in 2002, and in 2008 another popular web browser came that is called Google Chrome. Here we have a Google Chrome icon. So this web browser came in 2008. Google Chrome. Okay, this came in 2008 and was created by Google. Okay, so this is a brief history of web browsers. So first web browser came in 1990 and was discovered by Tim Berners-Lee. After that, a Mosaic web browser came that came in 1993, and it was a very popular web browser because this was the first web browser that provided an interface, or we can say a GUI to users. After that, in 1994, another popular web browser came that's called Netscape Navigator. In 1995, Internet Explorer came, and after that, in 2002, we have Mozilla Firefox. In 2008, we have Google Chrome. These are some popular web browsers. Okay, and the appearance of a web page, that means the web page we are going to access, the appearance of that web page can be slightly different in across the browsers. For example, if we are going to access a web page, and if we will open the web page in Google Chrome, and if we will open the same web page in Internet Explorer, they can be slightly different in designing. So this can happen through the browsers. That means there is a slight appearance change in the web content of a website when we'll move across the browsers, and it is normal. Okay, so we'll see some functionalities of web browsers, what a web browser will let us to do. Okay, first thing what that we can do with the help of web browsers, we can send and receive electronic mail. We can send and receive emails using web browsers. Okay, email messages we can send and receive on World Wide Web nearly instantly using a web browser. Okay, we can read messages using web browser, or we can upload messages using web browsers on news groups or forums, okay, about topics or some opinion, or we can share information with other people using web browsers. And web browsers, the major functionality, the major we can say the major advantage or the major work that the web browsers will do, they will help us to browse the World Wide Web. Okay, so the enormous amount of information that is provided on the internet that can be browsed with the help of, or that can be surfed with the help of web browser. So browser will help us to browse the World Wide Web, where you can find a rich variety of text, graphics, interactive information, and so on. In addition to this, a web browser will allow us to we can say we can watch videos in web browsers, like you can go on YouTube, you can watch videos, or a web browser will allow us to listen to music. Okay, a web browser will allow us to play some interactive games online. Okay, so here we saw what is a web browser, and then we saw a brief history of a web browser, and after that we saw the functions of a web browser. Okay, thank you very much.